Welcome to the NGConnects Podcast, where National Gypsum team members and industry leaders share insights and advice to solve construction and design challenges. We obsess over the details to help you build better. Hi, I'm Chris Whitmire. I work with the marketing team at National Gypsum Company. Thank you for joining today's podcast. With me here today is Neel. We're going to discuss PermaBASE cement board and speak specifically about PermaBASE CI, which stands for continuous insulation. Eddie, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Chris.
Eddie has been with National Gypsum Company for 36 years, starting his career as a regional sales trainee in 1988. He's advanced through the ranks from sales representative, regional market manager, and then national sales manager for factory-built housing. I didn't know that. He took the role of market manager for PermaBASE in 2004, where he has accumulated 20 years of knowledge and experience. Eddie, it's a pleasure to have you today, and I'd be remiss if I didn't start off by saying I appreciate the opportunity you gave me back in 2011 to join your team, the PermaBASE team, and it's hard to believe that's been 13 years ago. It's gone by fast, but forever grateful for the opportunity that you gave me. Been a great friend, mentor, and coach over the years, and just it's a pleasure to have you here today to discuss PermaBASE and specifically PermaBASE CI. So welcome.
Well, thanks, Chris. We're very fortunate to have you join our team, and very fortunate to see you move up the ranks that you have and so quick. So we're looking forward to talking a little bit about PermaBASE today, something that we really enjoy talking about, and something that I've spent the better half of my career working in.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but you're the one that gave me the start, so thank you. So Eddie, let's kind of just start with the basics. What is PermaBASE? How is it used? Where is it typically used?
First, PermaBASE cement boards have been around for over 25 years. They have a proven high-performance track record. They were originally designed for wet areas in your bathrooms and showers, behind ceramic tile. All right. However, over the last decade, we've seen cement boards as a drop-in replacement for metal lath for exterior applications. Fast forward a little bit more, as the acceptance of PermaBASE has gained traction over, in the exterior use, we were challenged to create a new product that incorporated continuous insulation in there. So we took the best of PermaBASE, added the insulating properties of polyiso, and created PermaBASE CI.
So Eddie, let's talk a little bit more about PermaBASE CI and how does PermaBASE CI meet these energy requirements that are out and about throughout the country? How does PermaBASE CI address these energy requirements?
Well, currently the energy codes have 7 different climate zones, from your warmer, more humid climates to your colder climates. So what we offer as a solution is 4 different sizes of PermaBASE CI. First one being a 1-inch CI, which will give you an R4. All right, that's for some of your more milder climates. We also offer a 1 1/4 inch, which will give you an R6. A 2-inch CI product will give you an R10, and then for the more severe climates, the colder climates, in particular up north and up in the upper Midwest, we have a 3-inch product, which will give you an R16 of continuous insulation.
So we have a PermaBASE CI product that really addresses all 7 zones in all parts of the country.
Right.
So no matter where you live, we have a product.
It meets the requirements currently out there for the energy codes. Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about R values. What you hear that term thrown around a lot. What are R values? What do they represent? I know, again, we talked about, different parts of the country have different R values. Talk to me a little bit about what's the significance of these R values.
Well, R values measure how well materials resist the conductive flow of heat or its thermal resistance. The higher the R value, the better insulating performance, and R values can apply to individual materials or entire assemblies. So the lower the R value, the less requirement. The higher R value, the higher requirement, and the better insulating properties.
Yeah, makes sense. One quick question on that. So
Sure.
When you talk about 2-inch and 3-inch, Does that thickness include the board itself, or is that just the continuous insulation piece, or is it the entire the entire component of the board and the insulation is 2-inch, 3-inch, or is it just the insulation part?
That's a good question. And the way we have framed this product, the 1-inch includes 3/4 inch of polyiso and a 1/4 inch of PermaBASE cement board for a total thickness of 1 inch. Okay. And we designed these products so you could have your accessories that meet the most popular sizes. 1-inch, 1.25 will give you an R6, 2-inch gives you an R10, and then a 3-inch material, once again, will give you that R16.
Is the PermaBASE board itself, is it always 1/4 inch in all those?
For PermaBASE CI, yes, it's
Okay.
always 1/4 inch.
Okay. I just wanted to touch on that because that came up a lot in the Southwest. Is it a true 3-inch? Is it a true?
Right.
So Eddie, we live in Charlotte. There's obviously a lot of construction going on in and around Charlotte, banks, restaurants, multifamily projects, commercial construction projects. Talk to me a little bit about PermaBASE CI and these adhered veneers. Do you have to just use one adhered veneer? Can you transition from one adhered veneer to another?
Yeah.
How does that work? I know there's a lot of options out there, but talk to me a little bit about how that works.
Well, that's one of the things that a lot of the architects and a lot of the individuals in the design build community really like about using PermaBASE, because you can have one substrate with multiple finishes. And when I say multiple finishes, I mean stucco, manufactured stone, thin brick, real stone, okay, or you can go thin tile or, regular tiles out there, which is also very popular. So, once again, one substrate, multiple finishes. And, that really allows the design professional to get quite creative with how he wants his facades to look.
Sure. From an installation standpoint, is it more complicated? Is it the same? Is it easier? Are there any details or anything unique about how PermaBASE CI is installed? And then, the other question to that is, when you're installing these adhered veneers to the PermaBASE CI, anything special or unique that contractors have to do or follow when they're installing?
I think what we'll do
system?
here is, we'll put up a particular detail, so for those folks watching at home, they can see this detail. And it all starts, for the metal framing, then it goes to your sheathing product. In a commercial application, it would be in an extended exposure sheathing, a purple sheathing.
Yeah,
so
there
to
you go.
speak,
We like purple.
We like purple.
Yeah.
So, from there you'd go out to your starter track and then your flashing. And then you'd have a weather-resistant barrier over top of the sheathing, okay, and then a drainage mat or drainage plane, and that is to displace any incidental water that may penetrate through to the products, okay. Over top of that, you'd have your PermaBASE CI fastened 8 inches on center, and then you would treat your joints with 4-inch alkali mesh tape, and then from there you do an adhered mortar, okay, a polymer modified mortar, and you could put your thin brick, your stone, your manufactured stone, your real stone, okay, or your tile, or also you could have a stucco finish.
Go back to the drainage mat. Is that something that's required? Do you have to have that?
Yeah,
or-
drainage mats are getting more popular every day, and more architects are putting that in their designs. Whenever we illustrate best practices, so we always include a drainage mat. And once again, it's just to drain any incidental water that may penetrate the system.
Just allows that to wick out
Just
through the
allows
bottom
water
of the system.
to wick out. Correct.
Okay. Eddie, what's your recommendation, or what recommendation do you provide to contractors from a transition standpoint when you have a contractor that's using maybe two different types of adhered veneers? What's the recommendation there?
Well, you have 3 rules to keep in mind, and the first one being is making sure that you provide some kind of termination edge at each material. In other words, some kind of accessory piece, okay, to create a clean finish, okay. You also want to make sure that you maintain the continuity of your air/weather barrier, okay. Once again, any incidental moisture, you got to get the drain out. And last but not least is include some way, like a drainage plane, for that moisture to drain out of the system.
What about control joints? I remember when I was in the Southwest area, we would get that question a lot. What's the recommendation or the guidance that we provide contractors as far as, do you need control joints? And if you do need control joints, what's the recommended spacing, and where'd be a good resource for contractors to go to find this information?
You're correct. You will need control joints in this system, but the control joints are all controlled by the finished materials. In other words, the control joint for stucco is going to be a little bit different than a control joint for thin brick or a control joint for thin stone.
But that manufacturer is going to specify that, right? We're not going to specify what that control joint is. That recommendation is going to be whether it's the synthetic stucco manufacturer, the manufacturer of the adhered thin brick. We're going to defer that decision to whoever that manufacturer is for the...
The placement of the control joints is controlled by the adhered finish group.
Eddie, that's really good information on the control joints. Again, that's the type of question we used to get a lot on PermaBASE CI, those control joints. How about fasteners? That was another frequent question. Anytime we talk to a contractor or anybody interested in PermaBASE CI, that was a frequent question. How about fasteners? Because you got different thicknesses. Right. Obviously, you're going to probably need different lengths of fasteners, right? What's the recommendation there from the PermaBASE team? You
will need a special fastener for PermaBASE cement board, and it will be based off of your thickness of your cement board and how far you have to go back through to get to the framing member.
Makes sense.
So we have recommendations on our website under the PermaBASE CI submittal for 3 different companies that can provide specialty fasteners for this that come anywhere from 2-inch all the way up to 4 to 5 inches in length. Okay, so your fasteners, you just want to make sure that it goes completely through the product back into the framing member.
Is there a specific depth as far as that fastener getting into that framing member? Does it have to embed a certain distance into that framing member?
There's a different depth for wood framing as well as metal framing. Wood framing, you want a minimum of 1 inch. Metal framing, what they call 3 turns, which is about a 1/4 of an inch in.
Okay.
All right.
And those manufacturers that you recommended?
They all have those specifications. And once again, that can be found on our website. And there's phone numbers there, the 800 numbers for you to call to get fasteners from those groups. So,
Eddie, I'm a contractor. Talk to me or sell me on why PermaBASE CI. What makes PermaBASE CI unique? Why would I use PermaBASE CI in lieu of the traditional scratch, lath, and brown? Hit on some of those advantages and why PermaBASE CI.
If you're going to have continuous installation on a building today, all right, and you don't have PermaBASE CI, you're going to have to go through the steps, all right? And the steps, starting with your sheathing, then you're going to come back with some type of a polyiso board, an EPS board, an XPS board. Over top of that, you're going to have a weather-resistant barrier, and then you're going to come back with your metal lath, okay, then a scratch coat, then a finish coat, and then you come back with your adhered finishes, all right? That's probably, 4 to 5 trips around the building.
Well, time is money. That's one of the things from a contractor standpoint. Time is money. Didn't you guys did some type of time motion study too?
We did. Yeah, we contracted with the Home Innovations Lab to do a time study, and during that time study, we were able to prove that PermaBASE would save you a minimum of 35% of the labor and time and energy on a job site.
That's significant.
So everybody wants to save a little.
Eddie, great points from the contractor perspective. Let's talk a little bit about on the architectural side. How's the reception been on PermaBASE CI from the architects?
Well, we've heard from a number of architects out there that have specified the product, that the performance on the job has been well received. Contractors like the product. They've been able to speed up the process. Okay, they've been able to get on a job and off a job. But most importantly, once again, it allows that architect a lot of latitude with the finishes that he can put on his building now. So you can go with the stucco, you can go with the manufactured stone. A lot of people really like that stone look, and you can combine thin brick and stone and stucco all on one plane, and that just allows them a lot of flexibility there.
Well, Eddie, positive news for sure. Both the feedback that you provided from that contractor perspective and then also the architect perspective, especially for being fairly new to the market. We've only had the product out for a few years, so I'm glad to see that the reception's been very, very positive. And I think that's probably a good point that we can wrap up today's conversation. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next podcast. National Gypsum Company is the exclusive service provider of reliable, high-performance building products manufactured by its affiliate companies and marketed under the Gold Bond, Proform, and PermaBASE brands. The National Gypsum name has been synonymous with high-quality, innovative products and exceptional customer service since 1925. The information provided in this podcast is for general information purposes only. For specific building or design questions, please consult with the 1-800-NATIONAL Construction Services team or your regional National Gypsum Construction Design Manager. Always use products in accordance to the manufacturer's recommendations.